In the 90s, I was born. Hi friends, it is Sam and I am here to talk to you about Bojack Horseman. Bojack Horseman is a sitcom cartoon created by one Raphael Bob Waksberg? Or Raph Bob Wack. He created it, didn't he? Right? It's about a humanoid horse called Bojack Horseman who was in a very famous TV show back in the 90s, and 18 years later he decides it's time to make a comeback. I was recommended this show by a couple of friends and I took my time to watch it because I didn't think it looked like my kind of thing, you know? Like, most cartoon sitcoms I just don't go near, like Family Guy and Futurama and South Park. They're just not my sort of thing. And they're wildly popular, so I'm sorry if that offends you, but I thought that Bojack would kind of be a lot like these shows. But I gave it a watch and I was sucked in pretty much straight away, and it's probably one of the best things I've ever watched. Lego Batman and Jesse from Breaking Bad made a show and it was magic. It comes complete with a creative world building and consistent settings, which I absolutely love. Even in IRL sitcoms, live action if you will, like the setting tends to magically like clean itself up for the next episode. It amazed me how consistent this show was. If Bojack's house got trashed, it stayed trashed consistently throughout episodes until a character cleaned it up. If Bojack's car, say, hit something and his windshield cracked, it remained cracked until he got a new car. The show also offers the talents of an amazing cast. Will Arnett, who played Lego Batman, and other characters who aren't as important as Lego Batman. Aaron Paul, who was Jesse in Breaking Bad. Amy Sedaris. Lin-Manuel Miranda. Like, I had no idea. Excuse me. I watched this whole show and I didn't realise the boy Lin-Manuel was in it. Like, come on, Sam. J.K. Simmons, Stanley Tucci, Lisa Kudrow, and a special guest performance by Harry Potter himself, Daniel Radcliffe. And those are just to name a few. There are some excellent names in this show. As well as with its scenery, it was also very consistent with its running jokes, like Vincent Adultman, who is clearly a stack of 3 child boys pretending to be an adult man. Princess Carolyn, one of the characters, falls in love with him and never realizes that he is 3 small boys and not 1 adult man, which is very funny. There's also a sex robot called Henry Fondle who somehow manages to become CEO of a company just by using sexual terms, and no one seems to notice that he's just waving dildos around. In one of the early episodes, Bojack steals the D from the Hollywood sign as a gift to Diane, who he likes very much, and it's never put back. So instead of still calling the place Hollywood, throughout the show it's called Hollywoo, and that makes me like quite amused. The show's also really artistic and brave with some of its episodes. One particular episode was almost completely silent. Bojack goes to a convention in an underwater city and he has no idea that his helmet has speech functions. So he goes around like gesturing at people and trying to communicate through movement and facial expressions and hand gestures, and it's just stunning. It was very bold of Bojack's creators to assume that people would be watching TV without a phone in their hand and their eyes only occasionally flicking up to look at the TV screen. And it really paid off because it was such a beautiful episode. And still funny. there were still humorous parts in it, even without speech, and that's excellent. Issues tackled in the show include, but are not limited to, abortion, addiction, depression, feminism, domestic abuse, and I really appreciated that. I love a show that can provide depth and humour because as well as liking to laugh, I do also like to cry. That was a bit of an issue for me. I mentioned in a previous video that there are 2 days of my period when I'm particularly extremely depressed, and I watched some particularly extremely depressing episodes of Bojack during that time, and I was not okay. But at the same time, I couldn't stop watching. It's so good. LGBTQIA representation comes in the forms of Kelsey, Herb, and my very favourite character, Todd, who is asexual. An asexual main character in a show, and it's discussed in the show over several episodes. This brought me so much joy. I was so happy that it was a topic they discussed, because Bojack has been heavily featured on Netflix since it came out. I remember seeing it everywhere, even before I was interested in it. So something that heavily advertised on Netflix has most likely been seen by many. There's this amazing scene when he goes into his girlfriend's mum's room and she just drops her clothes, and instead of like finding it attractive, he just goes, "Oh my god, that must be so embarrassing for you." So good, so funny, excellent. I mean, obviously there are things about the ace spectrum that weren't mentioned, but I personally, as an aspec person, am grateful for any sort of asexual representation and education that the show provides. Top 5 characters. Number 1, as I said before, Todd Chavez. Love him so much. Love him so much. He's just adorable. Kelsey, who I previously briefly mentioned, she finds him so adorable, and she loves his little face, and like, I relate. Because he's just so cute and precious. And he's nice and good, and he does what's right, and he's creative, and he's happy, and he's friendly, like, so wholesome. Second favourite character, Bojack Horseman, the show's namesake. He's sarcastic, he's just such a brilliant character. In the early episodes, he actually reminded me of Sterling Archer from Archer, because he's quite selfish and can't admit when he's wrong, and he finds it hard to apologise. I just thought the two characters were quite similar. Third favourite character is Sarah Lynn. She just reminded me of Lindsay Lohan, who I used to love very much. She loved Bojack no matter what, and I think that's one of my favourite things about her, because he's such a flawed character and she just didn't mind and she accepted him anyway. Number 4 is Judah, who's quite robotic, but I find him adorable anyway. Never has a bad or horrible thing to say, and I like his man bun and his beard. I just think, like, he's got a look going, you know? And my 5th favourite character is Princess Caroline. I initially didn't like her. I'm not a massive fan of her character design. I don't like the contrast of her green eyes and pink fur, and like this ice cream scoop on her head. Not a massive fan, but her as a character, I love when she alliterates when she's excited. I love that she uses fish as her curse word, as well as being this hard, unflappable woman who's like a girl boss in every way. She's also like quite emotional and vulnerable sometimes. Just a really well-rounded character. Another thing I loved about this show was the fact that they never made any characters lose weight. Apart from Herb, but he was dying of cancer, so that made sense. But Bojack was tubby from start to finish. Even when he started getting famous again, like, he never thought, oh, maybe I'll be more famous and make more money if I lose weight. And like, I couldn't be more grateful for that. And I love that Diane was towards the end of the show, worried about gaining weight when she went on antidepressants, but she did it anyway and she gained the weight, and at the end she didn't lose the weight because she didn't feel the need to. She was fat and she was happy, and that's an amazing message to send out. One thing I wish had happened was that Bojack told Diane that he stole the D for her. In the earlier episodes, Mr. Peanut Butter takes the fall so that Bojack doesn't get in trouble, and Bojack never tells Diane that he stole the D for her, and I feel like, I don't know, she should have known. I gotta watch the Christmas episode, but I'm gonna do that in December, so it feels extra special. I probably will have watched the show at least twice more at that point, but it's all good. Also, I think Horsing Around is a show on Netflix now, so I'm gonna have to look into that. But yeah, Bojack, loved it very much, highly recommend. If you've seen it, let me know who your favourite character is. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time with another video. Bye!